Hi, welcome back. I know it's only been a few days since the last one, but I'm back in the groove here, trying to get some things across. Today I want to talk about karma. And remember, I'm going to preface this video like I do some of the other ones. My beliefs, if you don't believe any of this, just shut it off and go have a margarita or something. I want to talk about fixing karma and making karma, because they're two very different things. One of the things when we come down into our next lifetime that happens is we pick the life we're going to come into, and we pick it for very specific reasons. Sorry, I'm getting my little booty here again. We pick it for very specific reasons, and that's because in our last lifetime or a previous lifetime, we've done something, there was a lesson we didn't learn, whatever, that we got to make up. Let's say, extreme example, but in my mother's own case, this is an interesting case actually. My mother, in her last lifetime, was a very abusive mother. And she was so abusive that her son ran away from home when he was 10. And she came into this lifetime, and interestingly enough, the soul of her son is now the soul of her second husband. And they do have that kind of relationship where she's kind of making up to him what she didn't give him in the last lifetime. I know she's his wife, but she's also motherly towards him, which he really needs. And so it's an interesting phenomenon when you go from life to life, how karma has to be made up. And it's hard to progress into your next progression to another lifetime until you've kind of fixed or made up the karma from your previous lifetimes. The reason I'm telling you this is because there are people that go through life and it's always, why me? It's always, this doesn't happen to anybody else but me. You know, nobody else experiences these awful things I do. Well, as we all know, we all experience awful things. I don't care how glamorous and wonderful your life is. We all experience rough patches in life. And that's part of the learning process, actually. But what I want you to start doing is focusing on, let's say you repeatedly run into the same wall about something in your life, whether it's relationships, maybe you are in and out of relationships and you can't make them last, and you finally start figuring out it's not them, it's you, kind of thing. Maybe every job you ever have, maybe you keep falling into the same kind of job over and over and over, but you're not successful at that job. It could be just a whole array of things that could be happening. The thing about karma is, whatever you did in your last lifetime or lifetimes before, you kind of got to make up for it and fix this time. So it's trying to get you in this subsequent lifetime, which is this one now, to come to grips and terms with what you may have done in previous lifetimes and fix it, so that in your next lifetime, you don't have to go through whatever it is you went through in this lifetime. Maybe you'll have a different karma to make up for something else, but that karma that's been haunting you for the last 7 lives is not going to go away until you basically learn from it or get it right. So let's say you are one of those people that you've been in several relationships and they never last, and you went through years blaming the whole world, nobody understands you, and everybody's awful, and then one day you wake up and you're like, oh my God, is it me? It's 7 other people and me. What's the common denominator? Me. So let's say you finally figure that out, but you don't know what to do with that information. Well, your karma is apparently losing relationships because you have done something before hostile in a relationship type thing. Maybe you stole somebody's wife or husband. Maybe you did something that just caused a tremendous amount of loss for somebody. And so in this lifetime, you get to experience loss. Now here's the fun and interesting thing about karma. If you are wise enough and insightful enough to figure out what it is that you have done or might have done, or at least what possible karma you may be making up for in this lifetime, you have the blessing and ability to fix it in this lifetime. Yes, you have to experience it, because if you don't experience it, you don't equal out what happened in a previous lifetime. So you always have to balance things out, make them fair and equal. But that doesn't mean once you have experienced that stuff in this lifetime, you can't learn from what you've done and fix it so that the rest of this lifetime becomes much better. And that's where a lot of people get stuck who actually do believe in karma. That's one of the frustrating things. You're going to hear a train here in the background. Sorry about that. That's one of the frustrating things of people in my own metaphysical group I get frustrated with, because they'll say, woe is me, I can't keep a job, woe is me, I can't keep a husband, woe is me, whatever. And so I'm just not even going to try in this lifetime, because I know I'm obviously making up for karma in another lifetime, and I'm just going to kind of let this lifetime be a wash and then move on to the next one. What an utter waste of a gift on this planet to do something like that. You do have the ability to fix. You realize you're the problem in a relationship. You look inside your soul and your heart, and you think, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? What is it? My background is just haunting me now. I had terrible parents, whatever. You have to overcome, and if you overcome, then you actually get to experience. There's the horn. Then you get to experience pleasant things going forward. But a lot of people just don't do that. They literally just kind of wipe their hands and go, well, like I said, this one's a wash. Hopefully my next life will be better. Potentially in your next life, you're going to be handed the same lessons you were in this life. You may be a different sex, race, creed, live in a different part of the country, whatever. But you may be handed the same crap you were handed this lifetime because you didn't learn from it. And that's an important piece of karma, is you have to learn from it. So that's one thing I'm talking about is making up karma. So when things are happening in your lifetime and it's a repeated cycle and you can't figure out why this repeated cycle is happening to you, just know possibly and probably you have done something in a previous life that you are now tit for tatting for, and that you can fix whatever it is in this lifetime and have a better lifetime going forward. Karma is never going to go away. I mean, I have a bumper sticker that more people honk at and wave at me. It says karma in big letters, and underneath it says, I saw that. Meaning, the universe is watching you all the time. Behave. Second piece of this I want to talk about is creating karma. I've spoke about this before, and my dad is long deceased now. He's been out of my life a lot longer than he was in my life, but I was blessed because my dad was super intelligent. And he was a psychiatrist, and I think I mentioned that before, so I apologize, but that gave me such an insight to human beings that I have carried with me my whole life, and I feel grateful. It doesn't make me special. It doesn't make me wonderful. Just like the kid whose dad is a car mechanic, and that kid learns everything there is about fixing cars, which is just a wonderful thing. My dad taught me everything he knew about the human being and the psyche, which is a wonderful thing. And one of the things he was really good about teaching was it takes almost nothing to reverse somebody's day. Almost nothing. Most people don't feel good about themselves. We all see the grass is greener on the other side, and we all think everybody else's life is fabulous and wonderful, and it's our life that's the problem. As I've said before, you have no idea what goes on in closed doors in people's homes. You have no idea what happens to people that you're not even aware of. The most put together, well-dressed, expensively dressed people go home to their hoarded house that's just filthy and a mess. But they present a certain thing on the outside that's not there. It's what they want to be. They're trying to get some semblance of control in their life, and that's the only way they have it, is presenting themselves to the outside well. There's thousands and thousands of those examples I can give of what basically you don't know. You don't know what's happened in somebody's life, what's happening in somebody's life, what potentially is coming in somebody's life. You have no idea. So don't ever judge your life based on other people's lives. First of all, you guys all have your own karmic thing to deal with. That's why they get this and you get this, because they have their own karma they have to fix from other lives, and their story has to be different than yours because their lessons are different. And you have your stuff that they don't experience. But I'm telling you now, probably 90% of the population, most people are insecure and don't feel good about themselves. And they may present a different package, but that's the reality. Most people. So most people you walk by in a mall, on the street, at your job, at a party, whatever, most of those people don't feel good about themselves. They think they're too fat, they're too thin, they're too tall, they're too short, they're the wrong color, they're the wrong religion, they're the wrong job, whatever. There's something, if not multiple things about themselves they think is inferior. But of course they don't tell you that. So like I said, one of the great gifts my dad taught me was, A, don't ever assume you know what's happening in somebody's background or has happened, because you have no idea. And B, it takes 2 seconds of your lifetime every day to change somebody's life. And by doing these things, you create karma. And so this is wonderful, because then you're actively creating a new karma in your present lifetime that's actually going to come back to you in this lifetime. Small example. I'll see the smallest thing. Today at work, we had a guy, he never dresses up. Never. I mean, I can tell he doesn't feel good about himself. It's very obvious he doesn't feel good about himself. I'm always very friendly, nice to him. But today, he was looking pretty sharp. He had, the nice slacks, and then I had no idea why, and I still don't know why. And the first thing, I saw him down the hallway, and I saw what he was wearing, and I was trying to find a way to casually walk by him so I could say something, and I just couldn't fit it in. So I literally waited in my office till I knew he was going to have to come in and talk to me about something that he was fixing. And I didn't let him get a word out of his mouth when I was like, dude, you look sharp today. And I meant it, because he did. And his whole demeanor immediately changed. He stood up taller. He got a little pink. He was like, oh my gosh, you could just see the transformation, not only on the outside, but on the inside. And the rest of the day when I saw him, he just kind of held himself a little higher, and you could just tell he felt better about himself. You could just see it. That's small. I made one comment. I do that all the time. I walk by strange people in stores and say, I love your purse, whether I do or not. If I can look at somebody and just sense, man, they're having a rough day, they're not nice people, they need to pick me up, I will make a point to zero in on those people and just say something, even if it's not true, which I don't think is a bad thing. I'm not a big purse person, so purses don't mean much to me. But I found in women, purses are a big deal. A lot of women feel some value with their purse. And so I've learned that's a very safe, comfortable thing to compliment somebody on, because it receives a good reception. They like that you notice their purse, whether it's expensive or cheap, it doesn't matter. Those are the things. Those are the things you can do in your everyday life that are going to create karma for you in this lifetime. I truly feel this, and it sounds hokey. Myself, I went through a lot of rough patches, and, in a couple years ago, we moved into this house I'm currently in with this beautiful 3.5 acre property right in the middle of a town. It's an average middle of the road house. There's nothing special about it, but I love my house passionately. I love my land passionately. I love sitting on this deck I'm on passionately. And I feel like the move here was a karmic event for me, because I'm not going to go on a long story, but I was led here to this house by my spirit guides, because we already ruled out looking at this house, and there was something that happened that brought me here, and here we are. But I felt since the day I set my foot in this house and on this property, A, this is where I belong. I should have lived here my whole life. And B, I finally got a big karmic moment for me. I felt like all these things I had done my whole life had come to this moment that I got this house. But even then, let me tell you, when every day of your life you catch the eye of somebody passing by you at work that is shy and introverted, and they don't feel good, and every day you just manage to say hi. You manage to make them look up at you, because that's important. A lot of people, as you know, walk by and they look at the floor. By the way, that's a tip-off if somebody's insecure. If somebody looks at the floor or to the side or up or anywhere but you face when they pass you, they're insecure. That's what insecure people do. So, you got to catch their eye and just say, hey, Dolores, how are you today? God, it's beautiful out, isn't it? Those things, those teeny tiny things that you think mean nothing, mean everything to that person that doesn't feel recognized. Everything to that person doesn't feel good about themselves. You are literally, by the smallest of gestures, validating another person's existence. You are letting them know that they are worthy enough for you to acknowledge and talk to and make pleasant dreams with, and they start believing that. And the more you do it, the more they believe it. The more you do that, the happier they become. And you do that. And your karma can come in many ways. You know, maybe that thing you've been waiting forever to go on sale, all of a sudden goes on sale when you just knew it was never going to do it. Maybe like me, you just stepped into the house that you knew you belonged in your whole life. But even then, I got to tell you honestly, when I see the aftermath, particularly when it's not strangers, it's people around me in my everyday life, when I get to see the constant aftermath of what me saying simple, nice things to them every day does, when I get to see them walking taller and more confident, and then I see them talking to other people, they start conversations, they're not looking at the floor anymore. That's a karmic thing for me. That makes then me feel good about me. Isn't that stupid? But it's true. And to me, that's karma. That makes me, you know, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not insecure. I think that's fairly obvious through these videos, but you know, even then, I don't care how secure you are, everybody can always have that moment that they get to feel good about themselves, and they get to have somebody else acknowledge them. You know, I like that too, but I like what I give other people because it makes me feel good about me. And I think that's where the karma thing just really starts snowballing, is the more you do these things, guys, the more these things come back to you. So while you're in this lifetime, you can create your own karma. And it's just so easy to do. It's as easy as saying, "Hi, Dolores, how are you today? It's really nice out today, isn't it? You know, you gonna do anything fun tonight? You're gonna go outside and, you know, enjoy the weather?" Don't ever underestimate how important that kind of stuff is, because most people don't feel worthy of anything. They don't feel like people want to talk to them. They don't feel like people want to look at them. So for you to look and talk to somebody every day literally validates their existence and makes them feel good, which in turn makes you feel good. And I'm telling you, down the road, there will be some more karmic stuff that happens to you in a positive way. Like you do that, get that car you always wanted, or that job you always wanted, or whatever. The beautiful thing about the universe and the spiritual energy in the universe is it always rewards you. As long as you're willing to gift to others and put out to others, the universe is willing to gift to you. So, kind of a long, short thing there. So just remember, two kinds of karmas in this lifetime. One you're making up for. So try to figure out what it is you're making up for and make up for it. And then move on, because then you can have a more pleasant life if your life isn't pleasant now. And the other thing is, put out energy into the universe in a positive form, and that energy is going to come back to you. So try it. Tell me what works for you. I'm lucky, like I said, I'm lucky. I got to start this very young, so I've got to see the returns of this my whole life. But teaching people this and watching them do it is also gratifying, because then I get to see how people, what they get in their lifetimes, and knowing that I gave them that gift. It takes something that simple to just talk to somebody else like that. So let me know. Try it. Karma. It's very important. You can't go through life without it. Until I see you next time, people, thanks for watching. Bye.